Welcome back to Unmasking Mum, the podcast, with your host, Ana Bonasera. Hi, if you don't know me, I am a late diagnosed ADHD mum of 5 children who are autistic, ADHD, with other disabilities too. Your go-to podcast for the real and raw answers to the questions you've all been wondering. So if you have any questions that I haven't answered yet, that you want me to, please do let me know. But today we are going to be talking about 10 hacks that I have personally used that actually work for me and my brain. Now, I have this concept where, because we have been undiagnosed for so long, we've been trying to work and live and parent and organize and clean, etc., in a life, in systems that work for people's brains, most people's brains, not all people's brains. So we are working with systems that actually are working for most people, but when we try to do it, we end up failing because it doesn't work with our brains and how they are systemed to work. And then we end up feeling like failures, judging ourselves to other people, comparing ourselves, thinking, why can't we just do it? Why can other people do it? That's because there isn't one way to live. There are so many different ways to live, to look after our children, to look after our house, to cook meals, to do things. And there is always a way that's going to work better for our ADHD brain. So let's dive in. These 10 different, most of them are really tiny, small steps that you could take that could make a big difference. So I want you to promise me now, you're not going to try and do all 10 in one go. I want you to make a list of 3 and start with working with 1, okay? That's the deal. And now here we go. Here is my 10 top hacks that I use that have made a big difference in our ADHD world. Number 1, everywhere has a home. Everywhere has a home. This is a small one, but it's actually really big. As you could, everything has a home. Like everything in your house, like that. If you're taking that very literally, like everything in your house has a home. But where does it all go? That's not what I want you to do. But like, think about things that you really lose often, like keys or things that cause clutter. Not necessarily things you just lose, but things that cause clutter. So if you are someone who has multiple children like me, 5 children, 5 sets of bags, 5 sets of shoes, 5 sets of coats, that's a lot of clutter. So we have a bench in our hallway and the bags sit on the bench. I don't have hooks yet, but that is one thing I really want to do and get up, which I need to get my husband to do. I mean, I could do it, but I'm going to let him do it properly. And if they end up on the floor, no, they go on the bench. Now, my children don't always successfully do this. Sometimes I have to do it, which is a bit annoying. But if someone says, where's my school bag? It's on the bench. Everywhere has a home. That's really worked for me. For things like TV remotes, for things like your phones, for things like chargers, like there is a drawer in our house and it has wires in it. If you need a wire for something, go and look in that drawer. Everywhere has a home. Everywhere has a home. If it has a home, you know where it is. Like my husband comes home and he puts like keys, wallet, work phone, normal phone on the side and anything that's in the pockets. None of that has a home. So when I then am tidying a little bit, not all the time, and I'm shuffling things about, he's like, where is it? Doesn't have a home. So I need to find a home for that. That's maybe a 2026 thing. So that he has a home for that, so he knows where it is. Everywhere has a home goes nicely along with number 2, which is don't put it down, put it away. And this isn't something I do all the time, but it's something I do kind of try and repeat to myself in my head when I'm feeling really overwhelmed. And it's something that kind of helps kickstart my motivation. So like if there is like after Christmas and there's loads of stuff around and I'm thinking this is way too overwhelming, I will just be like, and I've got something in my hand, I'll be like, don't put it down, put it away. Find a home for it. Now, I try and stay away from the doom bags and boxes as much as possible, but sometimes I think it is the most efficient way. But if I'm going to do it, I will generally do like a room by room system. So like I will have a bag of everything that should go in that room. So like if in the kitchen there is a ton of stuff on the table, this doesn't really work, doesn't it? Number 2, small bins. This is a really weird one, but I love it and it works so well for me. So like when you're in the kitchen and you're cutting things up, you're like peeling the carrots and you've got all like, the bits on your chopping board and you could just go straight to the bin, but then you let it pile up and then it's like almost too much to take to the bin without some of it falling on the floor. That's why I have a Tupperware container, like literally a small takeaway dish on top of the counter near me, and I will just scrape it into my small bin and then I will put the small bin in the big bin when it's full. So I don't have to keep going back and forth to the bin, especially our bin's in a cupboard. So it's like, oh, extra time, extra energy I don't have to give to putting things in the big bin. And I don't want to create a huge mass on my side. Having a small bin on my counter really, really helps. Really recommend. Number 3, something I've been doing for a lot of years now, like maybe 2 years. Pretty much most days I do this, and it's to have protein for breakfast. First thing I have in the morning is Greek yogurt with honey, sometimes raspberries if I've got them in and I'm not giving them to all my children because they love berries and berries are expensive. And I've added a Nature Valley bar, which I break up into pieces. It's very, very nice. Protein for breakfast. Why? Why is protein good for breakfast? Let's have a listen. Let's have a read. I'm going to read this verbatim because I can't remember all the facts, but I know it's good. Protein is great for ADHD breakfast because its amino acids build crucial neurotransmitters, like dopamine, improving focus, mood, and motivation, while also stabilizing blood sugar to prevent energy crashes and making ADHD medications work more effectively by providing steady brain fuel and reducing side effects. So there you go. Protein for breakfast. And don't just fall for the stuff that is like marketed protein. Look for the stuff that's just got protein naturally in it. And I can't remember, there's like a good source of protein or something. Or is it good? I can't remember. But protein for breakfast. That's a win. Number 4, doubles. Buy doubles of stuff on purpose. Don't do the ADHD thing where you buy too much of the same thing that you don't actually need. But like I have toothpaste upstairs and a toothpaste downstairs. Depending where my toothbrush is, and some of my children have their toothbrush upstairs, some downstairs. I used to have 2 toothbrushes for everyone, literally, because trying to get your neurodivergent child to brush their teeth for school, it's not always easy. So if we're upstairs in the upstairs bathroom, I had access to it. If we were downstairs in the downstairs bathroom, I had access to one. So we were getting our teeth brushed wherever we were in the house. I used to have them in the kitchen, actually, in my really old house when they were really little. So buying doubles of everything on purpose is chef's kiss. Like creams as well, like hand creams. If we've got one upstairs and I need it downstairs, it is just extra time that I don't necessarily have in the morning. So I have 2 sets of hand creams, one upstairs and one downstairs, 2 hairbrushes, like just 2 of things that I know I'm going to need really quickly access to, that are like actually, to prevent us looking like I'm neglecting my children, So it's just so much easier to look after my children when I've got 2 of things and look after myself as well. I mean, honestly, if I could have 2 sets of makeup, I think I'd have one in the car and one at home. And I do have leftovers actually in my swim bag, so that if I ever forget, I know I've got some in my swim bag, but it's like the little ends of it, so it's probably a bit gross by now. But yeah, 2 of things, doubles of things, makes life so much easier. Oh, I also have 2 deodorants, one upstairs, one downstairs. Honestly, it'll change your life. Yeah. Number 5, my washing system. Now, this is something that I've developed, and I probably should do a whole episode on this, but I really struggled with completing the washing, which is what I think a lot of ADHDers struggle with. And that is the getting it into the washing machine, getting it out of the washing machine, getting it into the dryer, getting it out of the dryer, and getting it sorted and then into where it's supposed to be, where it's supposed to live. I noticed that the issue with me was if it wasn't flowing on, like if it wasn't easy and there was that flow of like things could move easily from one place to another, I got stuck, and that's when I would end up leaving the washing in the washing machine for days and having to rewash it. Done that more times than I'd like to admit. So I came up with a washing system to help me stay in flow. So I have a basket that I got from IKEA, and I actually bought 5 more of those baskets. So in total, I had 6 of these same baskets, which they do stack up onto each other. I then measured out a white unit with shelves to see if those baskets would fit in the shelf, and they do. So I have a shelf with 5 slots where I will put the clean washing. So this is how the system goes. Starts with a basket. Well, actually, I have blue IKEA bags full of dirty clothes. So the dirty clothes come downstairs and they go into the washing machine. Then when they're done, they go into a basket. That basket gets filled up with wet clothes, and I then put them in the dryer. When they are dry, it comes out. In the meantime, I'll put the next load in. So when one load is in the dryer, I will put another dirty load in the washing machine, and I've got another basket ready. So basket by the dryer, that gets filled up with dry clothes. basket by the washing machine gets filled up with clean, wet clothes into the dryer. Do you see that moves? It moves. If I didn't have that second basket, I'd be stuck. I'd have to sort out the washing before the basket was filled, before the basket was free to use and refill again. And I don't have time to sort out clothes on a daily basis. I don't have the capacity, mentally, physically, just don't. So I do this until I fill all my baskets. And when the basket's filled of dry, clean clothes, it goes upstairs and it goes onto my shelving system, okay? On the bottom, one load done. And then I fill it up until it is full. Now, at that point, what I'm supposed to do is take all the baskets, I empty it out onto the bed, and I will then separate it. I don't necessarily fold it. I'll put something on the telly, I'll listen to a podcast, I will put some music on, I will do something that is giving me a bit of a dopamine hit, bit of me time, even though I'm sorting out a million loads of clothes for the kids, and I will sort it all out. So I will do a basket for each child or each room, depending on who's sleeping where at that time, and it'll all be separated, and the baskets then are filled with everyone's clothes. Now, at that point, if I don't have the capacity or time to put it away, I know that it is organised. So if I know a child needs a pair of socks, then I will know that they were all in said basket. So, but the idea is that I do then put it away. That's the goal, but it's not always the case. So a bit of lower effort there, buffering for if I have an emergency, but at least I've done the minimum. So that is my inflow washing system, and it makes a big difference. I know not everyone will have space to have like a unit in their house, but if you can notice what your issue is with why you struggle, what's the stopping point, what's stopping you from moving that washing, that was my light bulb moment of having that inflow washing system, needing those baskets. You could just build the baskets up in your bedroom, but I was fed up of that, which is why I got the unit. If you want to know more about it, if you want to see the unit, let me know. Number 6, visual schedules. Okay, this is a hard one because it honestly, I am not motivated by this personally. I struggle to get started with it, but it makes a big difference. Okay, so I have a visual schedule for every child in the household. Actually, no, that's a lie. I haven't done one for Amelia yet. I have a visual schedule for all 4 boys. I have then got a big one, which we have in the kitchen. And I am out of flow at the minute of doing the boys' ones, but my bare minimum is I will do the main one in the kitchen. Who keeps asking, and I really need to get on it. But yeah, I just overwhelmed with post-Christmas and stuff. I haven't got it back into doing it. So we have a main one in the kitchen, and it helps me know who's going where and when, and it helps the kids know who's going where and when, to dads, to mums, school, horse riding, swimming. Yeah, it really helps. They have little like Velcro stickies, so we take them on and off when we're going to see my mum. So it just helps relieve their anxiety and help keep me a little bit in line with what's going on with life. Number 7, there are so many times where I have missed school dates and got the dates wrong when they're going back to school, like missed inset days, and I hate that feeling. And like, especially if I'm planning to do something and then it's like, actually no, the kids aren't going back to school that day, it's like really pisses me off. Like, I get pissed off at myself, not about the kids, not about the school necessarily, but the fact that I've got it wrong and I've built up in my head that I'm going to have like a child-free day, yay, finally back into routine, and I've prepared everyone else, and then I realise actually no. So to prevent myself from doing that, I will, as soon as I have availability, I will sit down with the new school calendar, normally towards the end of the school year, before we go into summer holidays, and I will sit on my phone and I will put in the dates for when they break up and go back to school for all the terms for that school year, and any other important dates they've got on there that I can, because I know then I will remember. Sometimes I will also set reminders. So if it's for like something, I do this all the time. I use my phone calendar a lot. I still sometimes miss things, okay? But like the minute I make an appointment, if I don't put it in my phone, I won't remember it. Don't trust my brain. I do not trust my brain. So like when we're at the dentist, I will literally make the new appointment there and then, and I'll put it straight in my phone. Same with my hair, make my appointment there and then, put it in my phone. And I try and get the exact timings as well, because otherwise I put all day and then I have no clue. And then for like appointments like that, you can put a reminder in. So I like put a reminder in for a week, and then I put a reminder in for a day. You can only do 2 reminders, which I feel like I could do 3, but 2 reminders will do. So yeah, my phone calendar I live out of. If you're a paper calendar person, go for it, but I am not. Reminders have made a real big difference to me. Number 8, what would my future self thank me for? This is a phrase that when I first heard it on a TikTok, I didn't take it seriously. And it wasn't until my house almost burnt down. Long story. It didn't burn down. It was nowhere near. It was more of like I was imagining my house burning down. The thought of it kickstarted me into using it properly. So I always used to put the dishwasher on overnight, and in the morning I would then unload it. One morning I came down and it was just making this gurgling noise, like, and it had been doing that all night. All night it had not had water to it, and I just had visions of it catching fire and us all dying in our sleep. And that was the motivator for me to start properly using this. What would my future self thank me for? So I now do the dishwasher before or just after dinner. And I've actually just made my an agreement with my eldest. He'll get more pocket money if he empties it every night before bed. Oh, that's made such a difference already. It's only been a couple of days and it's made such a big difference to my brain. So there you go, outsource to your kids. And I then, as well as that, start doing. So that was like the snowball. That was the beginning. Okay, that would kickstarted me into thinking, what could my future self thank me for? What can I be more organized? Because mornings are really stressful in our household. Like, I do not know who is going to be having a meltdown, what type of meltdown it's going to be. You know, I can't change that, how they're going to be emotionally. But what I can do is prepare little things that are going to make the load that I have to do a lot lighter. So I will get things ready like the school bags. I won't necessarily do the whole thing. I don't do lunchboxes the night before. I wish I was that organized. Sometimes I will do like sandwiches and stuff if I'm doing like a big batch for like the Nathaniel, Spencer and like Jordan or something, but not always. I'm not always that organized. But I will do like the snacks for the twins. I will get their bottles out and their books out. Sometimes I'll write in their books ready to go for the next day. But I will do little tiny bits that make my morning a little bit easier. And I ask myself, what would my future self thank me for? I really recommend giving it a try. Just keep asking yourself it for a little bit of time and see how it sits with you. Number 9. Now, I've talked a little bit about this, so I was trying not to say it because maybe I should have put this one forward more. But number 9 is lower your expectations. And I talked about this in the previous episode. If you didn't listen to it, then go and do it. But lowering your expectations, like, don't bite off more than you can chew. Like, our brains work differently. So if you're going all into a 30-day challenge of doing something every day, it's very likely that you will get to a point where you miss a day, you feel immense shame, you beat yourself up, and you do not get back on that horse because those negative emotions take over. But by lowering our expectations, by saying we're going to do one thing a week, I use the gym, for example, because we're in January. Going to the gym every day is not necessarily possible. It's like an impossible task when you've got kids, you've got work, you've got household, you've got to actually physically look after yourself as well. That's really important. If you could just say, if I go once a week, I will be happy. And when you do it, celebrate hard. Make sure that you actually give yourself a pat on the back, a big clap, jump and a dance, whatever it is you celebrate. You've been once amazing. Because once you feel those good feelings of celebration that you actually achieved it, rather than missing one day and then feeling like an epic failure, you're more likely to do it again. You might do it twice. Who knows? That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Lower your expectations. It makes a massive difference, I promise. And this leads on with number 10 as well, the bare minimum effect. This has been one of the biggest things. When we're trying to get motivated and started doing something, we really don't want to do it, it's much more likely that we're just going to put off, procrastinate, not get it done, beat ourselves up again, feel like a failure, sad times. But if we use the bare minimum effect and we could just do the bare minimum, wouldn't that be better than just having a fight with our brain internally? Yes, it would. So here's what I do. The example I use is walking the dog. When I'm really struggling with walking the dog, like if I've not had any sleep, if I'm not feeling well, if I got my period, whatever it is, and I just can't face the idea of going out and walking the dog, I will do a bare minimum walk. I will get the dogs in the car, I will drive to a little foresty bit where I know it's small and I can throw some sticks, I can just do a small loop. Even if I just stood there and threw sticks and the dogs had to run around, bare minimum. But I did it. I went out and I did it. I walked the dogs. The dogs got to run around. I got some fresh air. And hey, who knows? Once you're out there, you might feel like you can actually go a little bit further. But if you just started with the bare minimum and see where it snowballs to, much better than fighting yourself internally until you do nothing. So they're my top 10. What did you think? What are your top 3? Let me know. Comment below. I want to hear. Top 3, and which one are you going to focus on? Which one are you going to really hone in and just give it your all for low effort, lower expectations, once a week? Whatever it is, I'd love to hear. If you've got some value with this, let me know. If you've got any top tips that you want to share, I'd love to hear. Any questions that you want for future episodes answered, please do get in touch, DM Unmasking Mum, or leave it as a comment on the podcast. Follow, share, please do. It helps get the word out there and make us ADHDers feel less alone and more like part of a community. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have having a good start to 2026 if you're listening live with us, and I hope you come back for the next time. Bye.